Stay off your phone. Stop playing video games.
Don't do it.
Pay attention.
All
No
right.
one's ever going to want to play my games.
He's going to be angry. Hello and welcome back to the DiceBound podcast. My name is Adise and I'm joined by my co-hosts Wrath and Mr. Pickles. Say hi, Wrath and Mr. Pickles.
Nope.
Hi, Wrath and Mr. Pickles.
Nailed it.
Nice. For those that are new here, this podcast portion of the show will be taking a look under the behind the DM screen and under the table to discuss topics related to TTRPGs. So without further ado, let's roll. Today's topic is the improv aspect of TTRPGs. Whether in person or online, one of the major components of a TTRPG experience is the RP involved in the story. But that aspect can be difficult for some first-time players who might not have some prior improv experience. So to help remedy some of those first-time jitters, let's discuss some tips and tricks that we use and give our first-time players that will help them get them rolling. I'll start with you, Pickles. What are some tips that you have taken yourself or given to other players to help get somebody into the first session with the improv?
I mean, the easiest way to just jump in and know what you're good at in an improv is to look at your character sheet and pick something that you're good at. Like something that you can reference continually and kind of lean in on. That's usually a skill or something. With a Saturday game, I joined as a cleric that had no fighting skills, but I had knowledge skills. So every chance I could, I'd try and leverage those skills to add to the party. But another example is a certain ogre in a campaign called King's Crossing that Wrath runs that has the ability to eat anything. And so that's one of those things where I thought that was funny and I thought I'd lean in on that. And that's mostly what the character started as, is just he's a big ogre. He can eat anything, but he sometimes chooses to eat mud and rocks. And I thought that'd be an easy way to both interact with the environment and also try and lean on some perception. Normally perception is like looking at things, but Grunkle tastes things.
Oh, that's an interesting aspect to kind of bring to the character. And yeah, that can be a useful thing to do to kind of hone in on something like that. How about you, Wrath? What are some things that you've done and tips that you have for first person walking in?
So I agree with Pickles. That is probably one of the best advice that I've seen out there. That I would give. You know, look at your character sheet. If you know, hey, my character is really good at investigation, like that's what they're known for, then that is something that your character probably does often, right? So hey, lean on it. You could do it as much as you want because it fits your character to do it. I would give you that. The only downside to that is I've seen it go bad. Like I've seen, hey, your character is really good at investigation, and they're like, oh, okay, I investigate this, and it's like, okay, what are you investigating? It's just an NPC that asked you, like, how you're doing, and then like I investigate it, and it's like, there's nothing to investigate. You got to do something. You know, what do you mean? Like, and they just like, I'm gonna use this random skill that doesn't fit the situation at all. My example might not be the best one. I came up with it on the spot. Shut up. But the idea of just using a random skill in a situation that doesn't require it, and you're just like, why are you trying to attack the mailbox? Like, you don't need to attack the mailbox. Just open it, you know? My advice, because it's better than Pickles, obviously, would be, I'm just kidding. It's something I've actually seen Pickles do. In a game we aired on our Patreon, shout out to our Patreon, we're sponsored by, Pickles played a character named Amelia, who basically, I was the DM for this game, and I came up with this whole intro story of this happening, and this is happening, and this is what you guys are walking into. And it went around the table of who's doing what, how are you interacting, you know, what does Adise do, like, so on and so forth. And they're all continuing the story, they're pushing it forward, they're, you know, hey, I'm doing this, or, oh, I want to go do this, whatever. And, you know, maybe pulling something off their character sheet that they're good at and they know they want to do. It was actually Pickles who, instead of coming up with something, or, you know, for a first-time player having to think of something, they just leaned on what was already happening. So in the intro, I said that one of the NPCs had just finished up telling a ghost story. So Pickle's character knows, hey, I'm interested in ghosts. They don't need to be like, okay, now I improv my own ghost story. No, they were just like, hey, you were talking about a ghost story. So they brought it back to the scene that's already happening and reacting to what's happening around them. I think that is the advice I would give. If you are able to pick something out of what's happening around you that your character is interested in, then you have a tie that you can connect it to and keep the story going in that regard. So like in that instance, they were like, hey, I heard you talking about this ghost story. What are your thoughts on that? Or what was the premise around that ghost story? And so it did both. It gave them something on their character sheet that they knew they connected with and tied them into the story, and it fit the situation. So I wouldn't say Pickle's situation was wrong. I would say I would expand on it. I would go a step further. Not only find something that your character is good at and that is on your character sheet, absolutely. First step. Second step, make it fit the story. How do you do that? React to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Easiest answer.
Yeah, and I mean that's some really good advice. Yeah, don't be afraid to kind of start small and just like focus in on how your character would react to the situation rather than try to create a whole new storyline that is intimidating, and you don't really need to do that. You're all there to tell a story together. You don't need to hog the spotlight for too long doing something like that. So once you've built this kind of once you have this idea of your what your character is and what their traits are, how do you guys go about building that reaction? I know you talked about this, Wrath, but like, what are some tips that you have for getting those interactions to be more fluid? Of, hey, my character is now going to act this way. So, Wrath, why don't you kick us off with that one?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. As much as I just said, use your reaction, it's like, okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? I think is what you're getting at here. And that's a great question. I think it would look different to anyone in every situation. I will do my best to keep it broad and keep it maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Basically fitting to the viewer. Whoever you are that's viewing this, hopefully this will apply, right? Applicable, I think was the word I was going for. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is I would, like you said, you're not alone. You don't need to hog the spotlight. You are one actor on a stage, so you can lean on each other and kind of bounce off of each other. That's one thing that I would say has happened really well in King's Crossing, and something that probably has set King's Crossing up on a pedestal as a great campaign is because the players bounce off each other a lot. And I don't mean that in any kind of sexual way. That hasn't happened yet. Spoilers.
Still time.
What it is there was a conversation between tunnels and elves and dwarves that went on. Yeah, see, it's memorable. I didn't write that. I didn't come up with that. I didn't bring that up at all. My players did. And they just bounced off each other. Why did that come about? I don't even know. I don't know how it started. I don't know why it happened. It happened, and it's memorable, and it has gone down as one of the best conversations that's happened in King's Crossing. Every single episode that has Nimue and Nadarag in it, that happens every single time. They just bounce off each other so well that the episode can go, you can go 3 episodes of just them bouncing off each other, which has happened. So I would say that. I would say utilize the people around you, utilize the things that they're doing. If someone, I just came up with some bad examples in my head and I don't want to use those. If someone reacts to something on their turn, then it can come to your turn. Maybe, hey, they took my reaction. Maybe they just did the same reaction that I was having to the situation. React to them reacting. YouTubers do it all the time. Why can't you? Called out. You react to them reacting. Like, if they go, holy shit, like, what the hell? Then you can turn and be like, shut up. Like, we can't be yelling, there's a dragon, or whatever. React to them reacting, that's an easy action to do. The other thing that I would say is just keep it realistic, in the fact that out in public, people do reactions all the time. I love people watching. It's hilarious. And what you can do is, when people make any kind of reaction or interaction or exclamation, you have a natural reaction. Feed on that and step it up a notch. to where it's like you don't have to be shy of what people are going to think of you, because everyone, you're in a fantasy world, you're playing make believe with your friends. Like if people are going to judge you, they already have a ton of reasons to do that. Improving your character isn't going to give them any more fuel to add to that fire. So if, say, Pickles does something silly, I can react to that. I don't have to fake it and be like, I don't look. No, look at him and be like, what? It's perfectly reasonable for you to have natural reactions and show that. So that is what I would recommend. React to those around you, use their fuel to your own fire, and stoke it and build it up to where you are all creating a scene together. Just like Adi said, you're not hogging the spotlight, you're building something together.
Yeah, that's important, the community aspect to it. And I think that, when you have the right people that you surround yourself with, if everybody's into it, it works out really well. And even if there's a couple of stragglers that might not be as into it, you can still make do. But how about you, Pickles? Do you have any thoughts on ways that you can improve your reactionary side of your improv?
I was just thinking about what, Wrath, you were saying there. Is just, it really comes down to just having good yes and with your comrades, having back and forth to actually make the situation work or have character, I guess. And something I've seen a few times before is players getting too stubborn to change things that they've only mentally established. So they might come into a game with a really strong idea of what their character is, and that's good. But then they get to an instance where the game runs to a halt because they're too stubborn to just change something that they've decided for themselves that doesn't really matter as much, and it brings the game to a halt. Somebody being like, well, I decided my character is too scared to go to the haunted house, and everybody else is like, you serious? We can't work with that. We're going to the haunted house. Well, I'm not going to. It just kind of, you need to be able to change things that don't really matter to fit both the improv scene at hand and what your comrades are doing. It can be a little bit more fun to just bend the rules, like say, okay, maybe my character is a thief like everybody else. Maybe we can all be little thieves together. Maybe that'll be fun. I think Wrath has some thoughts here that I think I triggered him with that last bit.
I got to jump in. So Pickles, think about a game. Say I'm the DM and I bring you guys into a game and everyone is thieves, and you got one guy who's like, I'm a paladin, like I am a lawful good paladin, like da da da. Like, how do you work with that? Paladin goes around everywhere that the thieves go, like they're stealing, like the whole mission is heists, right? That's the campaign, because you've got a bunch of thieves. And everywhere they go, they're like stealing things, and the paladin is traveling with them to right the wrongs. So everywhere they go, he's leaving donations, and like while they steal things, he's going and like leaving donations to try and right the wrongs everywhere they go. That'd be a great yes and. I just thought about that. You said everyone's thieves, and I was like, how would you do that? Oh, that's a great idea. Anyways, someone can take that. You're welcome.
I mean, I want to say, like, all of these things that we're saying aren't hard and fast rules. This is advice and tips for having an easier time. It's like we've talked about all sorts of things where we end up being like, you can still do this idea, just it's not advisable for first timers. Like, conflict can be interesting, and having different ideologies in a group can be interesting. But if you just want an easy approach, sometimes it's best to go with the flow, yes and, bounce off of what your friends are doing, and react without making as much conflict.
Yeah, kind of going back to that idea of keep it simple, get your foundation set, and then build off of it from there. Yeah. So I know that we've already started to kind of discuss some of these, but so what are some of your guys' favorite improv scenes that have occurred during some of your campaigns that you guys have been a part of? I mean, we've talked about a couple of them so far, but Pickles, you got one that in particular stands out?
Yeah. I've been in a lot of games, and I've had a lot of garbage players, and clearly I've had a lot of conflict in my groups. If I'm advising, try not to have conflict. But I mean, that's really a problem, is that when players start getting frustrated with each other and it brings the improv to a halt and it becomes less fun. But my favorite improv, that was the question. My favorite improv of all time so far would have to honestly be Chuffy Lickwound and Poog of Zerengel. That I keep coming back to is just, that was such a great job that you two did, diving all into that. And it really was because you guys dedicated yourself to the character. You did the bit of the voice. You had Chuffy with his spider box, Poog with his love of frogs. I think of that last scene where I have a giant frog coming to kill you, and you're like, I'm gonna sleep on this big guy.
The big final boss fight, I thought I was dead. I was like, I'm dead, but this is what my character would do. I'm doing it. If you guys don't know, we played through a Weeby Goblins module. You can find it on our YouTube. By the time that this episode's out, most of the episode, you should be able to find it. I don't know if it'll all be posted by this time, but most of the episodes will be posted, and should be able to see them. So you can hit the bell for notifications to catch the rest of those episodes of Weeby Goblins that drop going forward. But spoiler, because the final scene wouldn't have dropped yet.
Maybe
by the time
we should edit that out.
Well, if you're watching this podcast, congrats, you just got a spoiler. I hugged the frog.
But how? And what happened after that? Did he die?
And why? Yeah, where was this frog? Why was there a giant frog there? Like, you got to watch the episode to find out.
One of my favorite instances of improv, though. Just great players doing a great time.
I will say it was pretty good. It even got to a point where Chuffy came back in King's Crossing. He didn't actually, but an inside joke of Chuffy. I think one of my characters said a big word, and it was, Adarag and Nim were talking, and I'm DMing, and one of the NPCs said a big word and went, "What that mean?" And Adise and I just died laughing, and Tough Nuts is sitting there going, "What?" It was pretty great.
That did catch me off guard, and that was a lot. That was a good laugh.
Good times.
Yeah. So and those are the sorts of things that when you have a good improv session like that, you can call back to it, and it really does stick in your head as like a really good moment of a campaign. How about you, Rath? You got that one. Any others stick out?
Yeah, actually, I'll be honest. We talked earlier about how we've all had a really rough week. It was rough. I worked 20 hours in one day, like out in a snowstorm. It was a rough week. We've all had a bad week. So I will be honest, I prepped for this podcast like yesterday or whatever. I forgot to prep that part. So when you brought that up, I was like, "Oh no, crap! What's my moment?" I will be honest. As soon as you said that last sentence, it came to me, and I was like, I know what it is." And it actually is a shout out to something that happened recently. So Grunkle, obviously one of my favorite characters that has come into my games, played by Pickles in King's Crossing. Grunkle had a recent moment, which by the time this episode drops, it will have already happened. So no spoilers. Go watch King's Crossing. I believe season 2 is just dropping now. Season 1's already out. Episode 1, Grunkle is in a situation where Pickles had to inform us, reiterate and make sure that we understood that he was in fact not twerking on his friend. And he had to do so because of an improv scene from a completely different campaign that Grunkle originally came from. Pickles came up with the character Grunkle, brought him into this other campaign. It didn't go well. It didn't see its the light of day. It didn't go anywhere. So when I brought back King's Crossing, he was like, or brought forward King's Crossing as a new campaign, he was like, "Hey, could I bring Grunkle in as my character? I'd like to play him." And I said, "Absolutely." So when when Pickles had to ensure us that he was not twerking on his friend, it was a shout out to a previous campaign where his friends were all in trouble, and Grunkle went to go see the lord of this town to try and argue that, "Hey, please free my friends. We're nice guys, I promise." And I asked how he wanted to do it, so he started doing a dance. Grunkle is a 400-pound ogre that probably more. I think he's like
in the 700s.
Yeah. So big old ogre, and he's walking through this like throne room up to the Lord guy, and he's like doing a dance through the throne room towards this Lord guy, trying to show him that they're friendly. He did a terrible dance. I think he tripped and fell over, and it didn't go well. And anyways, that scene years. I mean, that must have been what, like 5, 6, 7 years ago or something.
Yeah, about like that.
Like, yeah. Now came forward yesterday, a week ago, or whenever we recorded that episode. One of my favorite improv scenes of just this giant ogre trying to save his friends from the lord of this land by doing a little dance. Like, what? And I, have the DM, have to come up with a reason. I'm like, what does the Lord react to this 700 pound ogre doing a dance saying, "Free my friends"?
That was the Paladin and Three Thieves adventure.
It was, except in this case, it did not go well.
Yep. Yeah.
I think we talked about that already in another episode. Oh.
How about you, Adise? You got any favorites?
Yeah, I'd love to hear yours. Seeing as how every game you've been in, I've been around for it.
So I certainly think that the one that stands out in my mind as like a good improv session that I think that we did, and I think a lot of people will kind of sleep on it, is when it was in King's Crossing when Nimwort was transported to the dimension of Cain the Conqueror and lost his memory.
Oh my god!
You remember this now? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Grunkle. That beats the hell out of your episode.
So there was an episode where
King's Crossing Season 1, I don't remember what episode, but it's titled Land of Cain.
Land of Cain, yeah.
Amazing episode.
And as a result of some actions that we had taken in game, Nimwort was transported into this like almost like Valhalla sort of like endless battles raging place, and it was up to everybody. It was up to Adarag and to come in and try to find him again and try to bring him back out. And
Adarag was there and Torvekik was there.
Torvekik was there as
Nimwort
well.
was there, but it had no memory.
Yeah.
So oh my god. Yeah, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
He had to play as as if he had amnesia, didn't know us at all. After this was like 3/4 of the way through the campaign, we had built up like this whole friendship between Adarag and Nimwort, and he did a fantastic Torvekik, yeah, and he did this fantastic improv of
amazing
like this amnesia-stricken Nimwort that I think
best improv I've ever seen. I don't know why I didn't come up with that one first. Absolutely agree.
Yeah,
best improv I've seen.
So that's
probably the best episode of Season 1.
I would argue that was like, and the thing about it is that that single session stands out to me as one of the most dramatic sessions of D&D that I've sat down and played in.
It was pretty good. Like, you could I think that was all in one episode.
Yeah,
the entire Land of Cain was in one episode. That is the best one shot I think I've ever run, because it really is like a one shot set aside outside of everything else that was going on inside King's Crossing.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
go us.
But yeah, so that sort of stuff, it really gets me excited for the next session when you get those really good improvs going and you get that flow running and everybody's into it and everybody's going with it, and you can like feel the story being like generated as you're talking to your friends. But that kind of is all we have time for here in this section of the podcast. Be sure to let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on improv and TTRPGs, any tips you might have, and toss down one of your favorite stories or moments from a campaign that you've been a part of.
I'm actually curious too, if you guys comment if anything we said here helps you guys in a game going forward. That'd be really cool to see. Like, hey, I took your guys' advice on this. I used it in this game. This is the outcome. Even if it's shitty, maybe we did terrible advice. Like, it went terrible.
This didn't help at all.
Because if you guys let us know, then we can get better as well. Maybe you guys will teach us something.
Yeah.
Doubt it, but maybe.
Okay.
Flying too close to the sun there, Icarus.
It's a joke. Let's go back to where we were complimenting my game earlier.
No, actually, speaking of games, we'd like to close out all of our episodes with a little fun mini game. So, Wrath, what are we going to be doing this time?
Okay, so this time what we're going to do is we're going to do quick skits where we run around the table. Not actually. We're all too out of shape for that. We're going to basically do skits of what we have seen terrible players bring to the table. And this isn't for anyone to get offended. It's just funny. It's so funny. And it's funny because we've lived these things. Hell, we may even have done these things ourselves. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to kick it off?
I do.
Okay, Pickles.
Okay, while my teammates are talking to the queen and getting the quest, I'm going to go through their inventories. I'll take all the coins, of course, but let me see their character sheets so I can see if there's anything I want.
I was in this game. This has happened.
That actually hurt a little bit.
I was like, I was there for this. I remember this. And if I remember right, it happened. Like, we had to give them our character sheets and like tell them everything that we had.
Who's next?
Who's up? You or me?
Wrath, take it.
Okay, I'm here. A little late. It's fine. Oh, DM, you got a character sheet for me? You got a copy of mine, right? I left mine at home. No? Oh, you gotta find one? Okay, I'll wait. While you get that, anyone have dice for me? I didn't bring any. We could share yours? Sure, but I'm gonna keep them over here for now.
Oh.
Show up prepared.
Did you forget your pants too? Like what?
Yeah. I know this is not a huge deal. Like, some people are gonna be like, "Hey, at least you have players." I get it. Like, but if you're gonna be a good player, you can be a player, but there's good players and bad players. Bring your own character sheet, or since we play remotely, they're all saved and you don't have to worry about it. I noticed that a lot. Like, I bounce around and I watch like people's YouTube and podcasts and stuff and see what their setups are. Everyone nowadays has tablets and stuff that all their character sheets are on. So at their table, it's just a bunch of people with laptops and tablets, not written out character sheets. So I see that a lot more often now too. But even, hey, back in my day,
back in your day, I showed up one time without my character sheet, and I drove home and picked up my character sheet and drove back. I was pissed the whole time. I think
this is true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even today though, like, just being a good player by like reviewing notes and like, make sure that you have the prior information.
Pickles, you want to talk about that one?
Speaking of that.
It's hard to take notes. It's hard to take notes and be in character sometimes.
Pickles has not taken a single note. Oh my god, shout out to Dibs. My dad's name is Atlas. Shut up, Dibs. Never remembered any of that information. Critical information.
Guys, we're trying to find this guy named Atlas.
Okay, fair play. I'm knocking over lights. Okay, Pickles.
That should be Deece, right?
Didn't he just do his?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What did y'all do on your turns?
Oh my god. That's the worst. And then, can you just... Oh my god, yes. Tell me everything that happened.
Okay, what did you do?
No! Oh, I hate that. That has happened recently.
Yeah, that's always a little bit frustrating. But even worse, after you've just told them exactly what's happening, and they're like, I wasn't listening.
Oh my god, it's so true! It's so true!
But I said your name, and I was talking to you, and you were nodding. Oh, I don't know.
Pickles, do you remember the person who sat on a stump? I know that doesn't mean much to anyone, but yeah, you do?
Uh-huh.
That happened. I'm talking to them, literally talking to them, and I'm like, okay, we'll say it's Pickles. It wasn't Pickles, but Pickles. This is what's going on. This is what's going around you. This is the situation you're in. What do you do? Pickles, what do you do?
Are you talking to me?
Oh my god. Is that happening? Oh my god. Yes. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yep. Back around with Pickles.
Okay, so now after I've taken the coins and all the items I want from my friends, I haven't been listening to the quest so far. So I'm gonna loudly shout an insult at the queen. Oops, did I mess that up, guys?
Oops.
Shout out to the players who attacked the Knight Captain when you guys were all knights who work for the Knight Captain in the Knight home base. Ruined the entire campaign. Literally killed the entire campaign.
I love it too when it's just like a merchant and like people are trying to like get information. And you have the one player who's like, and I like Sasquatches. Tell me if I can have for free everything now. And it's like, that is undoing any progress.
What was the one where we're like in a prison or middle of the desert or something? And they're like, I am going to buy a platypus. What?
Okay. They're not around here.
We've had a lot of conflict.
Wasn't they wanted to do that because was it a player's girlfriend who wasn't even in the game liked platypus, or was the player's girlfriend was in the game?
It was my wife.
The player liked platypus.
My girlfriend at the time, but my wife said that she thinks the platypus is cute. And so he was like, oh, well, everybody in this group hates me for some reason. I better buy her platypus. I'm gonna break your record, and then I'm gonna buy more.
Was she even playing?
Yeah.
Or was she just your significant? Oh, okay. I was like, Pickles was playing, and you just, I want to get on Pickles' good side, so I'm going to buy a platypus because the real person, Pickles' girlfriend, likes platypus. What?
I'll break your record, and I buy 5 more of them because you like listening to the same record 5 times.
Oh, it's my turn? That's not even it. Oh my god, that's not even it. They don't even come to. They don't even look up. The worst one is they hide it from me. I'm not dumb. I see what's going on. When this is going on, let me see. Does this work? I need something bright. I don't have anything bright. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
We know what's going on.
What are you doing?
League
So
of Legends.
normally people would be like, oh, they're like checking their notes or anything. No, they're playing video games. Literally playing video games in the middle of my session that I've prepped and spent a week for. My players have showed up. They're putting in their all, trying to put on this performance, and this person's over there playing motherfucking video games. I don't even remember who it was, but I think I might, and I can't say names here.
Stump guy.
Pause the session. Oh, that's right. Okay, I know who it was. Okay, it's not who I thought. Pause the session. I said, okay, we're pausing. I killed the camera and I looked and I was like, are you playing a fucking video game right now? Yeah. Stop! Like, what are you doing? Who does that? Oh, that's the worst. But I've only seen that once. Usually it's they're flicking around on something on their computer. This one still happens to this day. Very obviously, like, what are you doing over there? The other one is quickly put down my phone that you definitely don't know I was just looking at so that I can react to whatever you just said. Just pay attention. It's I don't know how long people's D&D games are. I've gone on too long. You get the idea. I'll shut up. I'm sorry. I'm triggered. I took that personally.
Yeah. This is one of Rath's pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
I think he almost said fetishes. I was like, no, he says not.
Or is it? I'm getting quite flustered over there.
I'm turning red. No. Stay off your phone. Stop playing video games.
Don't do it.
Pay attention.
All
no
right.
one's ever going to want to play my games. Like, oh, Raz the DM? I'm scared. He's going to yell at me.
He's going to be angry.
I will. It's true.
All right, so I rolled that check. Can I roll that again? Why not? The other DL let me do it.
I've talked a lot, but I'm gonna. Oh, the worst is they roll, and then they say what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like it's not even their turn. They roll, and then it gets their turn, and they're like, "Oh, I rolled a nat 20. I want to do handle animal.
Yep.
So I tame this dragon. Cool. No, I need you to roll now that you've told me what you're doing. No, I already rolled it. Look.
Yep.
No.
That person usually will roll a couple times just for fun. Too, and they'll like sometimes they'll fumble it against like a book to make it look like they're not like truly rolling. They're just kind of rolling around, you know. And they'll pull that. They'll roll it and like snatch up really quick. Roll again. Yeah, handle animal. 19.
This is what I wanted to do the whole time. Yeah. I just now rolled. No, the others were just for fun. Yeah. Oh, you're not smooth. We know what's happening. Stop. Just stop. And that's the thing is like, I think when I was a newer DM, sorry, when I was a newer DM, I would let it slide. Like I would get away. Like this has happened in my games, and it's not only happened once; it's happened multiple times. I would let it happen because one, you know, you're strapped on how many players you can get to actually show up to a game. So you're like, hey, this guy's playing video games in the middle of my session, but at least he shows up, you know. So I get it. Like when I was a newer DM, I would let these things slide. Now I think I'm just old and grouchy, and I'll be like, no, stop. Like you're done. I will call you out.
We will correct this now.
Yeah. No. Just get up. Just go.
Yeah. All right. I think that brings us back to Pickles.
Oh yeah, it is me. Okay, so yeah, okay, everybody's going off to do their thing after our whatever meeting with the queen. I wasn't really paying attention. Okay, I want to go build a torture chamber and abduct one of my comrades and then call the police on them.
That sounds.
God, this also happened in my game.
Can I build a furnace, or is the lady who just gave birth that's hosting this house going to be upset?
We may get canceled for this, but this actually happened.
Maybe cut that last part out. I regret that. He didn't, but I do.
We have refused saying this in forever. I will say it. I don't know if it'll get cut. It might get beeped out. A player, I was running the campaign. I had this wonderful city. The entire campaign happened in the city. It's called Stonehelm. It was a great city that I built out for generations of in-game time, obviously. And a player, was it the same player who burned half my city down?
No. Because this,
no?
If I'm thinking correctly, this would be in person.
Yeah.
This
was all in-person game. Yeah.
The burning half the city down was online.
Oh, it was? Okay. So they renovated a house to build a furnace in this house. And I let it happen.
Player agency.
Not always a good thing.
Yep.
We did a podcast episode on that. Go watch it. Oh my God, yeah. Oh.
And there was the lady who had just given birth that was like one of the roommates at the house. And it was like, golly, isn't this awkward? Every time she enters the room, you keep loudly saying your goal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's what you call causing conflict. And that's when you do not yes and.
It might have gotten beeped out, but hopefully around the context of it, you can figure out what we're talking about. And it's not a good situation. We've moved on. This was years and years ago. Like we've gotten better as people. Then it wasn't any of us that did this. Let's preface that.
It was Grunkle. He did this.
No.
No.
We don't invite him to games anymore, but one of us plays as him.
Yeah. No. I got this.
What? Oh, no.
Oh, you guys are all at the game already? Oh, yeah, I'm just, it's 20 minutes, Pat. Yeah, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna stay home. You're down to just one other player? You need me? Nah,
But
yeah, no, I'm gonna just stay home. Why? I don't know. grounded myself. All right, later. Oh, you can see me in the mirror. Well, this is weird.
Yep. I thought you were doing a different one.
No, I didn't realize you could see me in the mirror. That's awkward. I'm not redoing it, so that's what you get. You get to see me over there leaning.
That's great.
Oh, I just got outed. Yeah, that has also happened.
Yeah, that's just.
It happens a lot. Like,
There's just people who aren't into it
for no reason.
They're just
Last minute cancellations. It's so disrespectful. Like, if something happens, if something comes up, like, I understand, absolutely. Give us as much heads up as you can to let us know, because a lot of work goes into these games. If you guys have never been a DM, you don't know, but a lot of work goes into these games. Tough Nuts became a DM for a little bit. He actually quit because it was too much work, but from what I hear, amazing DM.
Yep. Great time.
At least you got to play in his game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know from the DM side, he put so much work into these games, like months of work into these games. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And when you're just like, I'm just not going to show up today. No, I'm not going to let anyone know. Oh my God.
Yeah. There's something on
I ranted
TV.
too much this episode. You get the idea.
I'm just gonna go to the movie with a friend I haven't seen in a few months. So
That's better than just grounding yourself.
yeah, well, the grounding
which
yourself
has happened to me.
We didn't want that player there. But it has happened so many times where you have a good player, but then they just kind of not into it, and it's sort of like fifth priority. So it's like, okay, if I have nothing else to do, I'll come and play your game. That'll be fun. It's like, oh.
And I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, well, you
I'm
never
gonna
get
show up
told
or
that
not.
because that's kind of brutal.
I will say, this is extra. I don't know. This podcast is probably going on way too long, but I'm gonna throw this in there as extra knowledge that you get if you guys watch till this point in the video. If you've watched till this point in the video, put Cotton 4K in the comments. I don't know why. What does that even mean? This isn't a 4K camera. I'm broke. Okay, so something I do as a DM now. This is pro tip, hot tip. Here you go. Something I do as a DM now is I have party leaders. Actually, these two are my party leaders. Pickles is in one of my games, and Adis is in the other game. If you only run one game, it's very easy. You need one person. I have two games going on in the same world at the same time, right? So I have two party leaders, but I have one. And you as the DM have enough on your plate. You have to prep all this stuff and get everything going and rolling and scheduling and planning and have a whole game and enemies and dice rolls and stat blocks and blah, 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 blah. Something I do is have a party leader. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your party leader check in with all your players to make sure that they're all going to show up, or you get their excuses of why they're not showing up ahead of time, and you can make arrangements for that. So I believe what I have is with my groups, we have a Friday check-in. So by Friday, I know for this next week, I run a game on Sunday and a game on Tuesday. I know by that Friday if all my players plan on showing up. Now, granted, last minute things can happen, you know, unfortunate deaths in the family, car broke down, you're on the freeway, like things happen. Are they going to happen often? No, but you can plan around it. So unless a 1% chance thing happens, my players are planning on being there. Or, hey, they got to go help their mom move. They know about that before the day of, an hour before, or they should, or they're probably lying to you. Oh, my dog ate my homework. That has nothing to do with the game. You can show up. Nah, help my grandma. Just all of a sudden, she just appeared.
She apparated.
Grandma be doing that.
You didn't know about that? That's crazy. She lives 3 hours away, and I'm here now. So you traveled 3 hours, but you didn't know about it until just now. That's crazy. That's crazy. So anyways, that's my hot take. I know that I've made this episode go on too long. You guys are welcome. You're getting a super long episode. I'm so sorry to the editor. I'll shut up.
Well, and with that, we've gotten about a session and a half now for you guys. Got a bit of information on how to improve your improv in between characters, as well as a bit of information and background on how to help you as the DM set up for your next session. So with that, thank you all for watching. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. For more exclusive content, including some of our one-shots and us making fools of ourselves, head over to Patreon and check us out on our socials. Link down in the description.
You want to see Pickles play Pokemon?
Yeah.
Check out Patreon.
Check out
Gotta catch
Patreon.
'em all.
Again, I'm Medis, here with Wrath and Mr. Pickles, and this has been DiceBound.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Dice.